This is the Seahawkers podcast, episode 482, take number 2.
Yeah.
I'm joined by my good buddy Adam Emmerich as we are live on a Saturday night ahead of the Sunday night football matchup versus the Washington Commanders. Adam, I know you were doing well the first time. Has that continued?
Well, I was less well when my audio didn't work, but then I was back to being very well when it turned out to not be my fault. And so that feels amazing. So I'm still doing great.
You know, it's fun when it's not your fault, but then now I feel like it's less fun because it was actually my fault. And, what are you going to do? It changes every time whose fault it is.
No, it does change like once in a blue moon because normally it's my fault. Like, let's not get it twisted. Like, that's usually where that falls.
Now I'm starting to wonder if, now that my confidence level is down by hitting the not setting up my equipment properly, is that going to continue then with my confidence level in this game? Like, what could the Seahawks do between now and when this game starts tomorrow to drop their confidence level? Like, does the plane, is there everything set up properly? I'm counting on the equipment guys, and I'm also counting on, I wasn't counting on Shane Turner Acoustic coming back in with another $2.99 super chat, but there he is. He said, hey, take one. Here's your $2.99. Take two. You came back. Here's another $2.99. A big thanks to Shane Turner Acoustic coming back in with the super chat.
Well, since he does acoustic things, he usually doesn't have to deal with these sound issues because he just makes the sound and then lets it free. But I do think he probably feels our pain. That's awesome.
I'm feeling a little bit of pain with the injury report and some of today's injury news. As Reed Go Hawks is saying in chat, is Love gonna play this season? Oh, yes, he was listed as out on the injury report this week. And then we found out on Saturday, Adam, that Julian Love is going to injured reserve along with Eric Saubert, so they're going to be out at least 4 weeks coming up. And just when we thought we were getting Julian Love back potentially, he has a setback and now he has to go on IR.
Soft tissue stuff, man. It's always dicey. And that's why thinking about Jaden Daniels playing in this game, it's like, maybe I'll believe it when I see it because you never know with this stuff. But it is a bummer with Julian. And I'd seen some comments on some other shows where people were comparing him to Jamal Adams and being like, it's just like that and blah, and all mad. And it's like, wait, Julian's already played way more than Jamal Adams. And Secondly, they didn't give up a zillion number one picks for him either. So, that's all fine and dandy. Plus, look, we've got a kid that played some college football in Montana, and he's filling in, and he's doing a hell of a job in Ty Okada. And I think that we've seen this group be able to work around these injuries. And now with Spoon back, and maybe that means that they take Eamon Worry and put him back there a little bit more. Who knows? We'll see how they deal with this. But it is a bummer, no doubt about it.
We've got Stu Lowe coming in saying, sure, but counterpoint, Oots, Robbie Oots coming back. We're going to have a hopefully full-time fullback again, Adam.
That would be amazing. I really do think that he can be the difference maker in terms of getting the running game ahead of schedule more often than not. And I'm fired up to see him just barrel down a gap and just plant somebody on the turf and steal their soul. I can't wait.
Shane Turner saying he's lying in bed Sunday morning thinking about Robbie Oots. And that's you know what? I sometimes think about Robbie Oots too. And, we're all better for it, I feel like. So,
oh, for sure. I don't know if any of you have seen American Tail, but they're always wishing upon the same star in the sky. Me and Shane, we're dreaming about the same fullbacks on Sunday mornings.
Looking at some of the injury reports too for our Seahawks. So we've mentioned that Julian Love is going to be out and out for a while. Christian Haynes, who had actually gotten to the point of full participation in practice this week with a pectoral injury. He is already listed as out, unfortunately. So it's going to be another week of Anthony Bradford at the very least, Adam.
It is. And even if he had been healthy, I'm not sure that switch gets made at that point too. So, because we didn't hear anything like, oh man, look at Haynes come back in practice here and really just light it up, and Bradford's going to be scrambling for his job. We didn't hear anything like that. So I kind of feel like we're stuck with Bradford for the rest of this season, if a trade doesn't happen before the deadline. So,
well, the deadline is coming up on Tuesday, so there's still time to hold out hope.
Say there's a chance.
There's a chance, but there is no chance that we will see Jake Bobo or Derek Young in this game. Both of them are out, and in addition, we've got Cooper Kupp listed as questionable, also a heel and a hamstring. So he has two different things going on. And to help with the receiver issues, they're calling up Ricky White is coming up off the practice squad along with Cody White. Is it Ricky White?
Yeah,
we
I
have
think
two
so.
guys named White.
Yeah. One of them's a fourth though, or a third, or something like that. Ricky is. But yeah, bring up all the Whites, I guess, and let's go. But I think that does kind of point to the fact that you're going to see a lot more multiple tight end sets with Arroyo and Barter on the field a lot, and getting Oots in there a lot, and trying to make up for the fact that they're a little thin at receiver this particular week.
I think I'm okay with that. I think that with the Seahawks going up against the Commanders, it actually plays, I think, more in favor or more in line how I'd like to see us play this Commanders team, and that is with two tight ends. And sure, so if Kupp can't go, then you're talking about Jackson Smith and Jigba. You're talking about Torrey Horton being the two outside receivers most likely. And I think I'm okay with that, along with Arroyo and Barner, and having that be the primary position grouping that we see out on the field.
And with Cody White as the third, I think he would be a fine third option at receiver for this game. I've liked what he's done in his short appearances. But what did we got here from Dogzilla? I'm not sure about us playing too many Whites. Yeah. Well, we're only so athletic as pale people. So, yeah, maybe that's too many Whites. I don't know.
Amy Holmes saying better than too many Ds. So,
which Ds?
I feel like there's a joke in there that I'm not going to fall for.
Oh, okay. It wasn't these nuts, though, huh?
No, I think it was. Stu Lowe saying, honestly, I'm a Derek believer now, even over Bobo. And I think that with Derek Young, there's going to be something lost with special teams there, unfortunately. But Cody White, he's a capable special teamer too.
For sure. And it's not like we've been making a lot of our hay in special teams in the return game. And Horton's done a nice job. Clinton brought up on the show that we did last night when we were going over the rookies is that I think Horton leads the league in punt return yardage or something like that. And he's just killing it. So,
yeah. All right. So a couple of other folks showing up on the injury report, but no designation. Sam Darnold, he doesn't even show up as having an injury, but he's on the injury report. So whatever that means, along with Derek Hall, DeMarcus Lawrence, all full participants late in the week. Robbie Oots, he's back. Leonard Williams, Devin Witherspoon showing up. Devin Witherspoon coming back. This is the one that I'm probably most excited about, and it also leads me to some questions about our Seahawks defense and how Mike McDonald's going to handle the return of Devin Witherspoon, Adam.
It's a very interesting thing, and especially when you consider the possibility of Woolen's future too in here. So there's a lot of moving pieces in. I don't know how you take Eamon Warrior off the field for as good as he has looked early on. And I know that we have become comfortable with having Spoon on the inside, and he's been great there. But also in college, he played outside and was freaking awesome.
Yeah.
So I do think that he could play outside. I wonder, because if I'm cutting minutes out of whether it's Job, Woolen, Eamon Warrior, or Spoon, it's got to be Woolen or Job that you're looking to cut minutes from. And look, Job's played great football, and Woolen had a nice game last week. So yeah. It's a really difficult problem. And then I hear a lot of people say, well, you can just play a lot of dime. And somebody brought that up to Coach Mike in his presser this week, and about being able to still stop the run when you're playing dime. And he's like, he just got chuckled. He's like, I don't see too many teams stopping people playing a lot of dime. So I don't think that's going to be the answer, but it's going to be interesting to see how creative Mike gets here.
Well, it could be him not wanting to tip his hand too, as ahead of the game. If that is actually his plan, is to play dime. I could see them not wanting to come right out and say it. Oh yeah, we just plan to play dime, because then Washington's going to say, oh well, yeah, we're just going to plan on pounding the rock then most of this game. But so you kind of brought up the conundrum, and it's also the trade deadline that I think plays a component in with this, because say that, and Woolen obviously is the guy that most teams are talking about as a potential trade candidate, because I think that this is a problem that other teams look at and say, hey, the Seahawks, they have a lot of depth at this position. Woolen coming up, he's in a contract year. We don't know if they're going to ultimately keep him next year. I kind of lean toward no, which I think is what other teams are looking at. And so would you reduce Woolen's minutes if he were a trade candidate and expecting to be traded on Tuesday? I could see them limiting his minutes because of not wanting him to get injured. And at the same time, I could also want to see them highlight Woolen and say, okay, he had a great week last week. Let's put him out there again against a Washington wide receiver core who's going to burn Tariq Woolen, with Terry McLaurin also out this week. He was ruled out, on Tuesday this week. So it's not like you have a lot of wide receiving threats. We could go out there, highlight Woolen, and maybe drive up the demand ahead of this Tuesday trade deadline.
Yeah, it's all risk reward stuff. And then you have to ask yourself, is it worth keeping Tariq Woolen on the roster for this year to help you maybe make it further if you get to the playoffs and that sort of thing? Is that value of him being on the team for just this 1 year, does that outweigh the value of whatever you're going to get back in a trade? A lot of these midseason deals aren't big barn burners or blockbusters, so I don't know. Like, I feel like if you could trade Woolen and get a guard of some kind, like whether it's Zeitler or one of the Browns guys or whoever the big names are that people have been talking about, I think that's going to be more valuable for this season than Tariq Woolen for this season on our team.
Because, like you said, and for one game you can kind of manage, okay, and maybe it ends up being Eamon that you go, okay, well, he's the rookie. He's going to be the one that we take off the field, and we'll just put Devin Witherspoon back in the slot where he's used to, have Job and Woolen out there. And especially with this trade stuff, if you're not willing to take Eamon off the field, then I think it might have to be Job with how this is playing out with the trade deadline. Possibly.
Also, too, they could think with Spoon coming back from injury, being like, hey, we're going to rotate Eamon and Spoon quite a bit here and try to ease him back in and maybe not go full throttle. So that could be the way it goes, too. Then you just keep Job and Woolen on the outside. Any other permutations that we can come up with here? Because, honestly, I think all of us as 12s are like, we'll see, because we have no clue. Mike hasn't really alluded to it one way or the other than just saying, I got to figure out how to play our players.
Hey, Devin Witherspoon, have him play Ty Okada's spot if he's going to be filling in for Love some more. Why don't we throw that out there too?
I mean, it's possible. Naturally speaking, you'd think that you take the safety prospect and Eamon Warrior and put him back there. But if you're going through all the different possibilities, I mean, that could certainly be one.
I just wanted to skip over that one and go straight to Witherspoon. Why not?
There you go. Why not? I mean, everything Mike kind of thinks here seems to turn to gold. So I think I'm probably in no matter what.
Yeah, Reed Gohawk saying, pretty amazing. They are a top 3 defense without them all year. Yeah, it'd be nice to have all our dudes out here for once. And gosh, I think that's the main takeaway with Love is, hey, things have been working out fine. Okada has played well. And hey, let's get everybody as healthy as we can toward this late season playoff run.
I think that's the idea, and this is today's NFL. I mean, it feels as if the injuries are more significant and longer and more frequent than ever before. It just really does. I don't know how many teams have fielded their entire healthy 11 on either side of the ball more than maybe 2 games in a row. Like, it just feels like that's just the way of the league now, and it really does highlight and emphasize how important the depth is.
Well, depth being an issue for the Washington Commanders with their top wide receiver, Terry McLaurin, listed as out. Tight end depth, maybe not as much of an issue because Colson Yankoff sounds like a made-up tight end name. He's out. And we've got Jaden Daniels coming back this week, Adam. He is announced as the Washington starter.
Well, would have rather seen Mariota, no doubt about it. But with that said, Jaden's a heck of a quarterback, and it's going to make it a taller task for the defense going into this game. But there's just no part of me that sees that matchup as something that they're going to struggle with more than, say, maybe like the Bucs offense or some of the other, better offenses that we face throughout the year.
Stu Lowe saying we'll see Mariota by the second quarter. I don't know if I'd count on it. They waited, and when I say the Baltimore Ravens this last week on Thursday, they waited for Lamar Jackson to be ready. And one of the things that we saw with the Ravens is that they really limited his running ability. And I think that while you say you'd rather see Mariota, they would run with the quarterback just as much as Jaden, I felt like, with Mariota out there. The only difference, I feel like, in their two games that we've seen, well, the major difference that we've seen statistically in their two games is that between the two is that Mariota turned the ball over a heck of a lot more than Jaden Daniels has, with Jaden only having one interception on the year so far.
Oh, for sure. And while Mariota can run and he's mobile and all that, he's not Jaden Daniels mobile. There's a significant upgrade there. And then Jaden's obviously the superior passer, especially at this point in their respective careers. But he's enough to put a little bit of fear in you. There's no doubt about that. But knowing that you have Spoon back and you've got this DB room that has a talent level that is so much higher than the wide receiver room of the scary Terry-less Washington Commanders, I feel pretty confident in that part of the matchup.
Well, and that's the question that I have of, you mentioned that Jaden Daniels' arm is significantly better. Does it matter if there's nobody to throw to deep down the field of the Washington receivers that are left? Like, Debo's not a deep downfield threat. Luke McCaffrey's not a deep downfield threat. I don't. Is Lane? That would be the one guy left of the Washington receiving core that maybe, but
yeah, hard telling, not knowing.
Yeah,
I don't know. Out of the weapons that are remaining for the Commanders offensively, it's got to be Ertz that scares you the most. I mean, he's still been highly productive.
Yeah.
He's been good. I mean, he's tore us up at times when he was with the Cards of all places, and still is doing nice work there in Washington. And we saw them let Dalton Schultz kind of get his last game against the Texans. And so that'd be the one thing that worries me just a little bit. Like, are we going to ignore covering the tight end as much as we did against the Texans? Or are they just going to be like, hey, that's going to be the number one guy. Let's focus in on that.
Well, Ty Okada could have a big day set up for him if we're going to be taking away one of their tight ends. We've got Black Thought Brown Dreams coming in saying, hope we can get the stretch running game going with their slower linebackers. It'll be a big game for our running backs. That's been one of the things that they've struggled with to this point. But again, that's where I go back to this idea of if we're playing more two tight end sets, two receivers, the one running back, or maybe we'll be out there with
22. Yeah.
We'll see. Yeah. With fullback out there and running behind Robbie Oots. Shoot, we might have, depending on how they do that it could count him as a tight end. They could count him as a fullback. He gives you that flexibility. And then, maybe we just need JSN out on the field as the other receiving threats. Although I like Barner, I like Arroyo as receiving threats too. So I think that could be the type of package then that if you're using those tight ends on the edge, that maybe it helps make those stretch run plays work a little bit more, and you can get out there against some corners for Washington that maybe aren't that great at tackling.
That's for sure. And when you look at the linebacking core, we're talking about Wagner is specifically future Hall of Famer, Ring of Honor guy. I mean, all the accolades. Love Bobby Wagner. We all do. Still getting it done in the run game for the most part. So even if you get him moving laterally side to side, he's lost a step, no doubt about it. but with his awareness of everything that's going on around him pre-snap, he can kind of make up for that a little bit. So I don't know that we have quite the advantage there on the outside running the football as maybe one would hope, but maybe we will. It'd be cool if we did. I'd love to see it get going, and it's going to be interesting to see what Kubiak does, specifically in the run game, in terms of, are we leaning heavily more into zone scheme stuff, or is he going to get into more gap scheme stuff, but power, whatever, like, pin and pull stuff? We'll see. And also, is he going to be as JSN dependent in the offense coming out of this bye week and self-scouting and all of that? So does that mean that Barner and Arroyo and Horton get way more involved? Or is it something where they're like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Just spam the hell out of JSN, get yards, get touchdowns, get dubs.
That's another area where it does make this matchup a little more interesting, with the Seahawks having their bye week, able to self-scout, maybe make a little bit of a plan for how they want to attack this going forward. And then we have Reed Go Hawks in chat saying, on paper, it looks like we should dominate. What's scary is that Vegas has us only at 2.5-point favorites. And in addition to that, Washington's playing on a short week. They played Monday Night Football, and here they are back in prime time on Sunday night, short week. And with all this time to prepare for the Seahawks, it does seem like we should maybe even be favored by more.
I would think so. And that's, officially what, like 5.5 because of the 3-point home field advantage thing, right? So that kind of starts to make a little more sense there. But I do think this is a little bit of East Coast bias, creeping into the betting public that has moved the line the way that it has, because I think there's a lot of people that are maybe more casual fans that are doing some betting and stuff. And they're like, well, the Commanders went to the NFC Championship game last year. They were awesome. And the Seahawks lost everybody.
Jane Daniels is back.
And he's back. So, yeah, maybe it's just trying to get the money to move the way that Vegas wants, rather than a true idea of, which team is that much better than the other.
Kendrick Lamar in chat saying, did you see Deron Payne said he doesn't know who JSN is? There was an interview going around. Deron Payne, the defensive end for the Washington Commanders, he was asked about what he's seen from Jackson Smith and Jigba so far this season. And he dropped one of your favorite things, Adam. He dropped a who on him. Now, I wonder if this is a component of he's a defensive end and like he doesn't care who wide receivers are at all anyway, because it's not like he ever has to line up from them. And they didn't use his number 11, which generally when you're talking to defensive players, like you can't. They can only remember numbers that they see and not so much names. So I think that's just a defensive line problem.
Yeah, I would guess that it's just the fact that he doesn't have to worry about JSN. That's somebody else's problem. So he just has to worry about trying to whoop up on people up front. And he's a heck of a player. I'd be curious if JSN even knows who Deron Payne is. Like, he may not. And, he kind of mentioned how the players refer to their opposition just by jersey number a lot of times. And I think really what it is that there's a handful of players in the league that are super special, that you know them by name, you know what's going on with them, all of that. And to most of these professional players who are awesome in their own right, they see everybody else as just a guy. So I don't know. I'll go out there and tackle 32. Who cares?
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. And Dogzilla Monster saying, I bet my mom has no idea who JSN is either.
Nope. But I'm sure at Thanksgiving you'll let her know.
Yep. So looking more at this Washington injury report, a couple other guys listed as questionable: Laramie Tunsil, Jerzon Newton, defensive tackle, and John Bates, another one of their tight ends. Laramie Tunsil one is interesting, and he's listed as questionable and having been limited participation in practice with a hamstring. This is one thing that you and we haven't really talked that much about last week when the Baltimore Ravens listed Lamar Jackson as a full participant in practice, but he only played as part of the practice squad. I did not know if this limited participation in practice thing, I didn't know that it has to do with how much they would normally fully practice. And so, like in the Lamar Jackson case, even though he participated fully in the entire practice because he was on the practice squad, or was that the scout team? He was on the scout team as quarterback. That technically would have counted as limited because it wasn't his normal participation. I'm very much like, as far as limited participation practice goes, like it can mean anything.
Sure. That was one of those stories, and people talked all about it, and like there's a zillion videos out there about it. Who gives a fuck? Like either Lamar was going to play or he wasn't going to play, and you weren't going to really know until the game gets started. So all the whining by the opposition and everything, like what are we even talking about? Like, but he was like full participant, but also limited, but maybe not limited, but then that means full, and like who gives a shit? Like, it's just one of the most boring stories in the world to me. I couldn't care less.
I was more taking it from the fact that, and like Amy Holmes in chat saying it's all about the betting. And and I guess when they listed him as a full participant in practice, it actually moved the betting lines. I'm not sure that if the $100,000 fine that they had to face is matches up with maybe how much they screwed over the betting markets, but I don't much care about that part of it myself because I more care about the football part of it. And I guess, they were clearly trying to get the Bears to have to prepare for the idea that Lamar Jackson was going to be playing. But, that's something that I think going up against a team with an injured quarterback that you're probably doing anyway.
You are. Because you don't know if he's going to turn a corner on Saturday, and he's felt good, and he's clearly better than Snoop Huntley, and so you're going to roll with him even without the week of practice. I'm sure that could happen. At the end of the day, if you're betting on practice reports, if you're making your bets on that early in the week, you're doing it wrong. Like, just wait till a little bit later. And I understand, like, there's got to be a modicum of truth to the injury reports and all of that for some fairness, right?
Yeah. Chauncey Billups agrees with you.
Yeah, I bet he does. But at the end of the day, like if you think any team's like completely straight shooting you with their injury report on any given week, like how many weeks in a row was Tom Brady on the injury report for the Patriots with like an ankle? Yeah. It was like every week for like 7 years.
Well, and that was another thing that I learned listening to, who's the former Patriots player that's on Pro Football Talk quite a bit? One of the safeties, Hall of Fame safety that played with Brady. And that was one of the things that he didn't realize anything about the injury reports up until now. It's starting to make sense for him that because Brady maybe sat out a snap or two during those weeks that he had the ankle injury, that made him legitimately limited in practice.
Yeah, I suppose. Injury news is just not something that you can hang your hat on as a fan, as a betting man, as somebody who's an opposing coach. Like, I don't know. It doesn't, let's just say, it just doesn't do it for me. How about that?
Black Thought Brown Dreams coming back with a $1.99 super chat saying, what are your prop bets for this game? If you go back and listen on Friday night, you and Clinton actually late in the show, maybe the last 20, 30 minutes, you went through some of your prop bets for this game. If before we send them off to go check out that show, what's one you're most confident in, Adam?
I think I took Seahawks -6.5.
Yeah.
At like plus 140, I think is where it was at off the top of my head, somewhere right in there. And I feel super confident about it. And at the end of the day, if the Seahawks go out and play a relatively clean game in this game in terms of penalties and turnovers, they should win by 2 scores.
Yeah. That's a big if, though, because to this point, the Seahawks team is averaging almost 2 turnovers a game. Last I checked, it was 1.7 was their average turnover margin per game on the offense. I get it.
Also, that Texans game is going to make it look a lot worse with 4 in one game.
Yeah. Well, it's something they have to clean up, make sure that they get that figured out through the rest of the season, because that's not an average that's sustainable.
No, it's not. In this particular game, as long as they kept it to 1 turnover or less, I think you're going to be okay. I think if you keep the penalties in the 5 to 7 range, you're probably good. And I am a little bummed about the idea if Laramie Tunsil doesn't play, because I'm really looking forward to his 2 dumb holding penalties a game. Like, that'd be great.
Well, I think there's probably a good chance that we see Laramie Tunsil out there. He's listed as questionable, but he's a guy that I think if he can play, he can go. It is a hamstring though, so I guess we'll see.
We'll see. And I mean, I guess that's kind of the whole thing from this week. Yeah, we kind of had the bye week, and you kind of lose. You feel like you lose a little touch with where the team's at because it breaks the rhythm and all of that. Now I kind of feel like I'm back in off-season mode to a little bit, where I'm just kind of looking at this week going like, I love what we're doing, but we'll see, I guess.
Yeah, and it does throw you off a little bit, and that's why it's given me all this time to be like, well, maybe there's a way that Washington, especially coming off 3 losses in a row, I think that's the thing that worries me the most about this Washington team, is that 3 losses in a row for a professional football team. Like, most teams that are even mediocre good will find a way and say, hey, we've got to find a way to stop this, get back on the winning side, them being at home, them being in prime time. They've got Bobby Wagner on their team, I'm sure, firing people up, and we've seen him go against us before, and it feels like he always has a little something extra when he goes against the Seahawks, which also kind of annoys me a little bit. But that's probably the thing that concerns me the most going up against Washington.
So if I were to ask you, like, if they have any advantage across the board, is that it for you right there? Is just the idea of, like Kale said in here, it trap game vibes and Wags playing out of his mind, that sort of thing?
Yeah, just the idea that as we have confidence as fans in our team having this amazing winning record on the road, I think maybe you start to take it for granted. It's like, okay, well, this is what we do. We just go on the road and we win, and that's because we're awesome. And you start feeling yourself a little bit as a football team. And a game against Washington where, again, they've lost 3 in a row, they could feel a little bit more desperate to try and make this work and turn things around.
Oh, for sure. And, there's always a wild card in every game that you play. But I do think what travels historically, great defense travels, and they're playing fantastic defense. Wagner can play as great as he wants, but at the end of the day, he's not playing that defense. I think that's really where it comes down to me. The offense, I could see it being up and down, maybe having a turnover, maybe something doesn't quite click the way that you're hoping in all of that. But I just can't see the D giving up more than 14 points in this game.
Even with all the injuries, this defense to this point in the season has been far superior than the Washington Commanders defense. And yeah, that's the part of this matchup that when I think that we're going to win by a touchdown or more, it's really because of these 2 defenses and how they compare.
Oh, 1,000%. That's exactly where it comes from for me, because if your defense holds them to just a handful of points, it's not hard to get up 2 scores as an offense. And you really don't have to do that much. And there's a lot of pressure taken off. So you're not pushing and you're not making mistakes and all of those things. And it all really does help.
Yeah, get out to a fast start and just win the game in the first quarter. That's all you have to do.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Just do the Texans thing that you did.
Want to thank our executive producers, DCH, Ryan Peterson, JC Schilling in the 313th, as well as Brian Shaw. And as I mentioned, Brian Shaw, Adam. Brian is back in with a $112.12 donation via Zelle. So thanks to our executive producer for chipping that in this week.
Dude, that's amazing. Appreciate you as always, Brian. That's so cool. And I think with that donation right there, that guarantees us a win this week.
Oh, yeah. I haven't gone back to check it, but I think that every time that Brian has donated, we win the following week. So 100% guaranteed. Don't look it up.
Yeah, don't look it up. But it's a fact, and that's how it's going to be.
And big thanks to everyone who is supporting our show and coming in at $12 and above. We're going to thank those folks toward the end of the show. I've got an updated list of folks, so we're going to get to that. I don't have any other extra emails, Adam, so what do you say we get on to some do better and better at life?
Yeah, man. That's why I was frantically scrolling my tablet here. And I'm podcasting from a construction zone as we continue our little add-on here. And I don't have my little desk like usual. So it's a quick little down. So now it's on my lap and then my mic's in the way. And it's just been a disaster. Much like my do better this week, the disaster of YouTube TV and Disney not getting it together and making a deal. It's looking like that you may have to find alternative viewing methods for your games this week if you're watching a game that was to be televised on ESPN or ABC.
Oh, no.
Fortunately, Sunday Night Football is an NBC game, and that makes me feel a little bit better. But my God, people, I mean, we're talking about massive TV deals. There's a zillion quadrillion dollars in the NFL universe, and Disney is worth more than half of the world's countries put together. The NFL makes $1 billion. YouTube TV and Google is worth more than 3 universes put together, and we can't make a fucking deal so that I can watch football. We can't do that. We're really that greedy that we can't figure that one out. So, and why in the world would the deadline for this be in the middle of an NFL season? On top of that, I'm so frustrated. This is super lame because finally it felt like by just getting the Sunday ticket and YouTube TV, all the stuff was in one spot. Take my money. I'll pay whatever it is so I can watch all the games wherever I'm at without any bullshit. And here I am in the middle of the season experiencing crap like this because of Disney and YouTube TV / Google. Do better.
Slarty Bogarty
might
have it right. Hey ho, it's the pirate's life for me, and maybe that's the way to go about this. And you don't have to feel bad about it because, like you said, Adam, everybody arguing over pennies when they're billion-dollar corporations. Maybe you just go and find it through alternative methods. But yeah, man, I've talked about this a while. And overseas, they have it worked out because all you do is you pay once for the NFL package. You get all the NFL games. You don't have to worry about, is it broadcast on ESPN or NBC or ABC or CBS? No, I've paid for the NFL my money, and now I just want all the NFL games. That's how it should work. Make it work that way, and we could all be happy that way.
I think so. I mean, there are definitely solutions to this. This isn't like trying to solve world peace here. We're just trying to figure out how to watch football.
Also, make it so you can have I just want to watch my team. I don't even care about the other games. Just let me, whether I'm in the blackout restriction area, just take my money so that way I can be sure and have the Seahawks game on my device no matter what happens throughout the week. That's the only team I care about. I don't care about the other football. I just want my Seahawks.
I mean, this year I've been leaning into watching more of Around the League since I've been off the road so much more. Oh, yeah. And so I've been able to do that because I feel like I've lost touch a little bit with some of the teams around the league over the last 10 years in a way that maybe I had before. But with that said, if you basically have to perform an oil change after driving from your house to the stadium, you live that far away, you shouldn't be in the freaking blackout zone.
Right. Yeah, I never understood that either. Because I'm in that situation for Mariners games, and I don't understand why I'm in the blackout zone being 8 hours away. It's
well, to be fair, when baseball was popular, they didn't have to worry about TV, so they never quite figured it out.
Dogzilla Monster asking what channel the Hawks game's on tomorrow night. It is NBC. So, yeah, it shouldn't have anything to do with this Disney stuff going on.
Let's hope not, because nobody can contain the Collinsworth chortles. That's for sure. Can't black him out.
My do better this week is are you toggling this comments on stage thing? What?
Maybe because I've got my mouse resting on my leg, and is that what's doing that?
It must.
All right,
be
here. Let me set it to the side.
The system.
Yeah, here I'll set it to the side. First, I'm echoing. Now I can't run a mouse. God, I'm a freaking disaster.
All right. Well, I just wanted to know if there's a ghost or gremlin in the system that keeps pressing that button after I press it on my end. but
Just this guy right here.
it's just you. Maybe
Nope, I wasn't touching it that time.
Maybe you should be my do better this week, but instead,
that's fair.
My do better is for our podcast host, Libsyn, because we have for years, ever since joining Libsyn, we've had this, our own podcast app, which is kind of cool. You can say, hey, if this is the only show that you want to listen to, go to your podcast app store, search for the Seahawkers podcast, and then you just download the app and you can listen to this podcast if this is the only podcast that you care about. And for years, that was the case. And until now, they are discontinuing app support at our podcast host. So we're going to have to take it out of the podcasting stores, and you just have to get your own podcast app. I recommend Pocket Cast. That's the one I use, but Spotify is another one. People who are listening to this are probably like, yeah, I know how to listen to a podcast, dude. But I want to and see the people that probably need to know this, who are the people that listen through the app, they're probably not going to hear it now because it's being discontinued.
No, there you go. But I'm pretty sure they'll figure it out right quick. I mean, what is the percentage of our audio only listeners would you say that's in app world?
Oh, it's pretty small. So it kind of makes sense from our podcast host perspective that, okay, not a lot of people, most people who listen to podcasts listen to a lot of podcasts, which require them to have a podcast app, but still for getting rid of the option so we could pass that along to our listeners, our podcast host Libsyn, do better.
Yeah, I don't really understand why it has to go away. I mean, what do they really have to do? It's already made.
There's updates. You have to have updates to these.
Yeah, but you don't. That's the thing, is you don't. You don't have to have endless freaking updates.
No, because Apple updates their phones, Google updates their phones, and then when they update the phones, then you have to update the apps to work with the new phones, and it's a complete development cycle. It's probably a lot easier. I just hope that our podcasting hosting fees go down because of it. That's all I ask in return.
That'd be cool. You called it a circle of development. I call it a freaking scam. But whatever. Tomato.
On to Better at Life.
All right. My Better at Life than Skip Bayless this week is for our quarterback, Russell Carrington Wilson, our former quarterback. Look, some people, they once Russell was gone, couldn't stand him anymore, didn't want him in their lives. They, really have kind of turned on him. And he's had a rough go over the last few years. And I feel like the negative comments and publicity about him have been off the charts, even though other than just being seemingly semi-inauthentic when he's talking, is a quality human and does really nice stuff in the community and all that stuff. He may buy houses with too many bathrooms, but he's not an a-hole, right?
Right.
But a couple weeks ago, and I know this is old, I've been saving this for a couple weeks until we could get to this here, with you being on vacation and stuff there. But his former coach, Sean Payton, what a loser he is. Oh, yeah. It's been 2 years since Russell Wilson has been his starting quarterback. And he's out there in a press conference, and they ask him about Dart starting and all that. And he says, I was talking to John Mara not too long ago, and I said, we were hoping that change would have happened long after our game. Taking shots at Russell Wilson 2 years later when it's done. It's been over forever. Move the freak on. You have Bo Nix at this point. Why are you kicking the poor man while he's down? But Russell, for once, didn't let it lie. This is great. But he X's back or tweets or whatever the hell you call that crap now. It says, classless, but not surprised. Didn't realize you're still bounty hunting 15 plus years later through the media. Fantastic. Shots fired. I love it. Russ standing up for himself. He deserves it. He should have earned the respect with his play from the first 10, 11 years of his career to not have to deal with this kind of crap. It's way out of bounds, and I was mad at Sean Payton, but I was super proud of Russ for taking the gloves off. letting us behind the curtain a little bit and showing some emotion. So to Russell Carrington Wilson, better at life than Skip Bayless.
Yeah, Russ is normally a high road type of guy and lets this type of thing slide. And even, I think he did let it slide for 3 or 4 days before he finally came out and posted something, which is what you call it now. You call it a post, social media post.
Great. I'm glad we made that update to the language there for like no reason.
But I was glad to see that. I was also glad to see Michael Bennett come out and go after Sherman a little, because Sherman's had some comments about Russ over the years. And yeah, I'd like to have Michael Bennett have our quarterbacks back, have his former teammates back, and say, yeah, Sherm, chill out on Russ. Like, he was one of our dudes.
You know, there has come a point with some of Sherm's commentary about Russ over the years that I've been like, dude, you're crossing into ungrateful land. Like, you didn't play offense too. Was the LOB the heart and soul of the team? Yes. Like, was it the big reason why you won a Super Bowl and went to 2? Yes. Did you have to have a competent and good offense to make that happen? And clutch moments in huge games from your quarterback to even make it there, to have the opportunity to play in that game? Yes, Russ was a huge part of that. And I do feel like it comes off as ungrateful at times. And I really did enjoy Bennett's commentary on that.
Yeah, Slarty Bogarty saying, I like Bennett's vibe when he's on Hawks broadcast. That's the best part about preseason, is when we get Mike Bennett and we get Mike Robb, who are doing the preseason broadcasts. I just want, again, things the NFL could do, give us our preseason broadcast dudes just throughout the regular season. So as if I want to watch the Seahawks game, I don't have to watch national announcers. We can have local announcers. We got Steve Rabel. Like, that option is available on radio. Mm-hmm. They have 2 teams who have their own broadcasters broadcasting live during the game. You could do that for TV too. It's not that hard.
Why in the world can we not get, because when Marshawn joins too during the preseasons, which would be great. Give me a Money Mike and Mike for my game analysis and commentary. I would love that. Like, for example, what was it? Was it 2 or 3 weeks ago where we lost the commentary for, I think it was during the Jags game. And it was glorious.
Nobody missed it. Nobody cared.
It was glorious. Yeah.
It was nice. So, yeah. Some of you, like Slarty Bogarty saying, have the rod feed and sync it up with whoever we want, like YouTubers or something. Yeah, we have thrown that around as something we could potentially do. Maybe we'll get there one of these days.
Yeah, I know Brandon doesn't like the idea. Let's just.
I like to watch the game with my family. That's
yeah. That's why I was thinking, like, me and Clinton could kind of like trade quarters or something like that. And like, we could bring in some of the little flockers here and there or whatever. I don't know. Maybe just bring you in at halftime for, 10 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
And then let you get back to the fam and watching the game together. I feel like there's a way.
There may be a way. And we'll have to continue working through this as we've continued to change and update the show throughout all these years. There was a time, Adam, where you and I weren't going live and broadcasting live out on YouTube. So, there's still time to change.
That's right. And we can always change back to not doing live, because then I don't have to sit here and scan my iPad anxiously, hoping that I have it ready to go for when it's time for our segments here.
Well, we've got...
That's fair, Slarty. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Slarty. Thanks to Godzilla Hawk saying in 2017, Russ was 85% of the Seahawks total offense. He was great for us. Thanks for coming in with a $15 donation. Yeah, that's the other point.
Awesome.
Hey, well, and as great as he was in 2017, there was even that 2013 season. Like, they don't beat the Niners without Russ being as good as he is in the NFC Championship game. Like, he dropped a dime on 4th down to Jermaine Kearse in the end zone to pull ahead of that Niners team. Yeah, okay, it was Sherman that got the final pass breakup, but you needed 100% of Russ, Marshawn, the offensive line, the LOB, all those components of that 2013 game to beat the Niners.
1,000%. You needed Baldwin and Kearse in there. Like, and that's just the thing, is that it's ultimate team sport. And, no position is, I mean, other than quarterback to a degree, is really bigger than the team. And even with just a great quarterback and no team around you, you're not going anywhere.
But yeah,
I agree.
It's the hate is unfounded, as Godzilla Hawk is saying, and I think that as the years go on, I know that initially it was tough with the way Russ left, and just like it was tough with the way that Earl Thomas left, you know, giving the middle finger to the sidelines, and that was kind of our last visual of Earl Thomas on this team. I think as time goes on and Russ is, you know, if once he gets out of football, he comes back to Seattle as part of the community, I think that some of us will start to turn a little bit back toward loving Russ the way we did early on.
Look, if Packers fans could end up re-embracing Brett Favre at some point, like, I'm pretty sure we can make that happen for Russ. I mean, give me a break.
Well, one group we want to be sure and embrace, it is our $12 supporters and above, Adam, and we're going to thank them with this video package right here. A big thanks to all of our $12 supporters and above.
Keith Ketover, a.k.a. Flocktimus Prime, University of Cybertron, Little Flockers, roll out.
DCH from Sparks, Nevada, the University of Montana Grizzlies.
Gary Blum from Chappaqua, New York, and the University of Pennsylvania, your 2016 Pick'em League champion.
Ron Pepper, UNLV Runnin' Rebels, San Francisco, California.
Hello, this is Hawk Van Dyke from London, the 2024 champion of the Ring of Honor Fantasy Football League.
Lisa in Seattle.
Samuel Gelber, NoHo, California.
David Van Cleve, Camas, Washington, home of the Papermakers.
Leo Jesse, Luleå, Sweden, from Luleå Eskimos and Rennes France.
Aaron Fisher, coming in from Henderson, Nevada. Go Hawks!
Marty from Down Under, Australia. Go Hawks!
Chris Boucher, a.k.a. the biggest little flocker, South Central Louisiana State University. Go Mud Dogs!
Hey, it's JC Schilling, back from Germany, living on beautiful Whidbey Island now with Quinn and Hudson. Go Hawks!
Hey, Seahawkers. My name is Garen Taylor. I live in one of the most beautiful places in the world, North Idaho. Hashtag on the roads. Go Hawks.
You heard from our executive producers, DCH and JC Schilling. A big thanks as well to executive producers Ryan Peterson and Brian Shaw. And continuing down the list of $12 supporters and above, starting with Rebecca in Manhattan Beach, Christina in Manassas, Virginia, Craig in Camas, Jeremiah in the Bronx, Sven in Berlin, Deutschland, Kevin in Great Glen, England, Brian in Omak, Jonathan in Ridgefield, Brandon in Huntersville, North Carolina, Pepper in Greer, South Carolina, Jay in Linwood, Kevin in Surrey, BC, JC in Horsford, England, Jake in Seattle, Brian in Berlin, Connecticut, Tracy in Kaneohe, Hawaii, Connie in Gothenburg, Sweden, Glenn in Ocoee, Florida, Marvin in Riverdale, Utah, Jeffrey in Kansas City, John in New York, Patrick in Sacramento, Bryson in Eltopia, Jeremy in Federal Way, Ken in Hutto, Texas, Mario in Seattle, Cora in Ditters, Deutschland, Eugene in Henderson, Nevada, Anders in Vila, Denmark, Warren in Dundee, Oregon, JC in the Greater Hoctum, Jeff in Bainbridge Island, Marlon in the Greater Hoctum, Paul in Portland, Daniel C. in the Greater Hoctum, Norma in the Greater Hoctum, Chris in Austin, Amy in Squim, Richard in Killeen, Texas, Joseph in Vancouver, Jamie in Oswestry, England, Jeannie in Seattle, Joshua in the Greater Hoctum, Rafe in Beaverton, Oregon, DJ in Menifee, California, Jeff in Gilbert, Arizona, Jason in Panama City, Florida, Mark in Bexley Heath, England, Alexander in Oranienburg, Deutschland, Sean in Cascade, Iowa via Kalispell, Montana, Greg in Lake City, Colorado, Oliver in Fort St. John, BC, Ovary Smasher 69 in Phoenix, Gordon in Valdez, Alaska, Ian in Seattle, B-Walls 22 in New York, Russell in Harpenden, England, Corey in Robertson, Australia. Sam in Altamont Springs, Florida. Chris in Manchester, England. Nathan in Fife. Charles in Bremerton. Ranger Luke in DuPont. Ken in Stanwood. Stu in Navarre, Florida. RJ in Bucyrus, Kansas. The Poetrist in Boise, Idaho. Martin in Ferrum, Denmark. Root in the Greater Hoctum. Mark in Everett. Jack in San Diego. Mike in Snohomish. And Yokai in Nakatsugawashi, Japan. There it is. A big thanks to all of our supporters who are coming in each and every month, Adam. It's always cool to run down a long list of names once a month and just appreciate, especially when you recognize so many names coming in each and every month.
Dude, that's amazing. And one of the things I took away from the list here this month is I think I could be anywhere, like just drop me anywhere in North America or Europe, and I'm within a day's walk of a little flocker somewhere.
Yeah.
Like that's amazing. Just the amount of the country that is covered by little flockers and, over there in Europe as well. Just, it's crazy, man. Blows my mind.
We need some more people. I don't know. I didn't see Vermont in there, so maybe we need to.
Tiny state, you can get across it in half a day.
That's true. Maybe
you can get to Clinton and Connecticut pretty easy. Yeah.
I thought maybe we needed somebody in Vermont, but maybe not.
I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't turn it down. Let's put it like that.
All right. Well, looking forward to the game, Sunday Night Football against the Washington Commanders. As long as we're able to watch this game and Disney doesn't buy out NBC and then take it away from us somehow. Hopefully, we're back here once again tomorrow night and recapping a win over the Washington Commanders.
Dude, book it. It's happening. I can't wait. Can't wait to see you tomorrow night. Can't wait to be celebrating a dub.
And I think with that,
there's only one thing left to say.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.